In this video, I'm going to go over big mistakes I see Amazon sellers making with their PPC and how to fix them. Not only has PPC gotten harder, but it's become more and more essential for Amazon sellers. Amazon has gradually reduced the number of organic positions at the top of the search results, and with rebates and two-step URLs no longer wanted by Amazon, PPC has become a core part of many ranking strategies. So let's get into the mistakes and what you can do instead so you can save money and increase the performance of your PPC campaigns. Mistake number one is not giving yourself enough control over your campaigns. I want you to think right now, how many keywords do you have in your campaigns? If the answer was more than 10, you're not giving yourself enough control. Some of the problems you run into when there's too many keywords are you can't control how much your budget goes to particular keywords. The high volume keywords are going to end up eating up the budget and take away from the lower volume keywords. And when you have too many keywords, some will end up being throttled and won't get as many impressions. Another issue is when dealing with bid placements. Let's say you have a keyword that's doing really well at the top of search placements, and let's say you have the bid increase at 10%. You want to raise it up to 25% to start getting more impressions at that top of search placement. Well, that might be good for that one keyword, but now you've raised the top of search placement for all the other keywords inside of that campaign. Maybe some of those keywords were perfectly optimized at the current bid. Maybe some of them weren't even performing well at that current top of placement bid. And by increasing it, you're just going to end up spending more and wasting money for keywords you don't want to be spending more for. The solution to this is to have smaller keyword groups. I prefer 10 or less keywords per campaign, and sometimes just a few or even just one keyword per campaign when I want total control. You can also group them by keyword search volume, grouping together the high volume keywords, the medium volume keywords, and the low volume keywords. Having small keyword groups allows you to control exactly how much budget they have, their bids, their top of place search adjustment. This will help you optimize the campaigns and save you from wasting budget. Mistake number two is randomly adjusting your bids. Optimizing your bids plays a big role in the success of your campaigns. If your bids are too low, you can end up missing out on impressions, and if they're too high, it will hurt your profits. And the best bid for your product can always be changing based on your competition and other factors. You'll see a lot of trainings that say if you're getting orders with a good ACoS, go ahead and raise the bid. And if you're getting a high ACoS, lower the bid. But the question remains of what do you actually change the bid to? And many sellers just end up picking a random number and adjusting the bid. So what do? Well, one way to go about it is to have a fixed amount you adjust the bid by. It could be a dollar amount or it could be a percentage amount. Let's say like 10% at a time, for example. If your bid was $1, you would raise it by 10%, which would be 10 cents, so make it $1.10. Raise it by another 10%, make it $1.21, and so on. This can definitely work and has its benefits, but a downside is that it can be slow to get to your right optimized bid, and in the meantime, you're just wasting money. A second way to adjust the bid, a more precise way, is to find your maximum bid based on your target ACoS. This might sound complicated, but I'm going to make it super easy and show you the formula of how to do this. The first step is to find your revenue per click. That's the amount of revenue you're generating for each click of your PPC ad. The way to find it is pretty simple. It's just your total revenue, which is the total dollar amount of your sales, divided by the number of clicks it took to get those sales. Then you times that amount by your target ACoS, and that will give you your maximum bid to achieve that target ACoS at your current conversion rate. So as an example, let's say you had $60 in revenue and it took you 12 clicks to get those sales. You would divide 60 by 12, which would be $5, and that would be your revenue per click. And if your current ACoS was 70% and you wanted to get it to 50%, you would then multiply the $5 by 0.5, because when you're dealing with percentages, 0.5 would be 50%, 0.4 would be 40. So you multiply $5 by 0.5, and your new bid would be $2.50. You can also set this up in a spreadsheet to do the math for you, especially if you're trying to do this for a lot of keywords. With Amazon PPC, you're constantly having to adjust your bids. It's very rarely set it and forget it. So try using these two methods to get away from the random bid adjustments. Mistake number three is only using your keyword ACoS to judge the effectiveness of your PPC. ACoS stands for advertising cost to sell, and refers to the amount of ad spend it took to make those sales from your ads. So if you have a 40% ACoS, it means you spent 40% of your revenue to get that sell. If a keyword chronically has an ACoS higher than you want it to be, a lot of times sellers will just end up turning it off. But that might not always be the best thing to do. There are some other factors to consider. If you're in the middle of a product launch or you're trying to rank a keyword, then your ACoS doesn't matter as much. You're trying to get as many sales as you can, and as long as it's converting, a high ACoS may be acceptable. Another factor to consider that many people don't know about is if it is helping your organic rankings. You should always be tracking your rankings of your keywords There's a lot of software tools out there that you can do this with, like Helium 10. And if you're ranking well organically for that keyword, the PPC may be helping that even with the high ACoS. You can try turning off the keyword, but if your organic rankings suffer as a result, you may want to keep that keyword on and just let it have the higher ACoS. So you can see how there's some other things to consider before turning off a keyword. And focusing too much on a keyword's ACoS can cause you to miss the bigger picture. One metric I like to keep track of that helps to see this bigger picture is total cost of advertising sales, also referred to as TACoS. Where ACoS in Amazon tells you how much you're spending on PPC to make those sales from the ads, TACoS takes a look at how much you're spending on PPC in relation to all of your sales, including organic. Calculating this is really simple, and I'll show you how to do the formula right now. The formula to find your TACoS is really simple. It's your total ad spend for a certain period of time divided by your total revenue. That's your ad revenue and your organic revenue for the same period of time. That will give you a number, and then you can multiply that by 100 to get the percentage amount. If your TACoS is 30%, that means that 30% of your revenue is being spent on ads. If your profit margin is more than 30%, then you're making money. And if your profit margin is less than 30%, you are losing money overall. You can do this for any time period you want. It could be based on the week or the month or the quarter or the year or whatever you'd like. This gives you a much better view of the health of your PPC campaigns so you can make better decisions. You'll be able to see what your overall profitability is and what impact your PPC is having on your organic sales. Ideally, you'd like your overall revenue to go up and your TACoS to stay the same or to get lower. And I just saw this mistake while I was filming, so I thought I'd go ahead and include it here as a bonus. So bonus mistake number 4 is not having a standard negative keyword list. It's pretty common knowledge to use the negative keywords to make sure you aren't wasting budget on keywords that aren't right for your product and that you don't convert on. But are you keeping a master list of your negative keywords? What I like to do is keep a negative keyword list of words I know I don't want my product to show up for that gradually gets bigger and bigger over time as I get more data and add more keywords to the list. This way, when I start a new broad match or a phrase match or an auto match campaign, I can go ahead and add my master negative keyword list in right away. So right off the bat, I can make sure I don't waste money on those keywords, and it helps me optimize my campaigns faster. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I appreciate it if you put a like on the video, subscribe and turn on notifications if you want to see more valuable content like this, and I hope to see you in the next one.